I bought a roll of uncirculated quarters, silver quarters here a few years ago. They're all 1964 and they're in excellent condition. They are about the last year they made silver, pure silver coins, but this shows you how they look. And I'm going to make a ring out of this quarter. I'm going to use the heads side of it, and it's got "In God We Trust" on it. That's the reason I like to use them. Now the first thing I usually do is to heat these coins up and you get them where they're almost cherry red, just a dull red. Not like that, right there. And that's what they call annealing. Now that we've got it annealed, we're going to chuck it up in this lathe here. A 3-jog chuck. We're going to drill us a hole in here. And this is a step bit I got from Harbor Freight. Now I've got a little homemade tool. That I chuck it up in, and this is to the purpose of this is to take the reading off of the coin. A lot of these makers leave that reeded edge on the coin, but it's not comfortable to me, so I remove it. Little file here. Now I've got another little homemade tool. This is just a little holder that I made out of some, I don't remember if it's maple or dogwood, but it's got leather around this curved part. And we're going to use this little deburring tool. It's a tool that they probably use mainly in plumbing to deburr the end of the connections they make, but it works good to get this sharp edge off these coins. So now we got to determine which side we want to leave outside, and we're going to use the head side because it's got the "In God We Trust" on it, and so we're going to turn it down. Here's another little homemade tool that's made out of some black delrin that I've turned down. It's got a 25-degree angle on it. We're going to put this quarter face down, the head side down, and we're going to put it in this little Harbor Freight press over here. I've modified this thing where I can keep the handle where I want it, and I'm using a metal thing on the inside because I'm going to destroy the detail on the inside. I don't want no detail on the inside, so I'm not worried about bothering it. The outside is what we want to keep, and this little thing here, it does a pretty good job of keeping the coin straight. Now I'm going to anneal it again, and I'll be annealing these this coin as we go along quite a bit. And I'm not going to show that every time. It's the same old process. But got it annealed. Got a little different pusher on here. It's a piece of delving too. And that it's started out pretty straight. So we'll work it down here a little bit. When it starts getting hard to pull that lever up, it's time to, you guessed it, anneal it again. Alright, I got it annealed. We're going to work it on down here a little bit more. We're going to run this thing through what they call a Swedish wrap process and a 5-degree die. Now we're going to wrap us some Teflon tape around this ring. Starting to be a ring, not a coin. And this is to protect the detail on the ring. Now I've got a little homemade 5-degree die here, and we're going to set this down in it. And I've got another homemade little tool here. It's also made of delving. I made this thing, it wasn't my idea, somebody else came up with this. I wish I could take credit for making it, but it wasn't my idea. Here we go. We're going to push this down in this die here a little bit. We're trying to squeeze it up a little smaller. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that brought it down a whole lot closer to being even. I'm going to push it a little further here. That's to the bottom. That'll go in there. I'm going to rewrap this thing. Well, maybe you can see that. It's getting closer. I think what I'm going to do now is to get my 17-degree die out here. We're using this 17-degree die, and it just hits the edge of it, so we don't have to worry about the detail on this. What I like about this press is you can pretty well tell what you're doing. Now, I distorted the other end of it. Try to just Bring that in just a little bit. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Now we're down size-wise to a it's about a 5.5 or a 5, and we're going to work on the inside of this thing and take this kind of lip that we've created off and take the detail out of it. If you can see how the inside looks or not there, but there it is. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to smooth the edges of this ring down. Just a little bit of 180 grit paper on this little disc sander. Now we're going to come back around here to our lathe, and I've got this little homemade mandrel on here, and we're going to just bevel the edges of this on the outside edge. Now we're still just a little bit off on our symmetrical that we're shooting for, so we're going to work a little more with that. Now we're going back to our 17-degree die. Put a little bit of that special grease on it. I know they sell some stuff in lube, and that they call it, but I'll tell you what I've got in there. That's old-fashioned Crisco, and it seems to work pretty good for me. We just need to tuck this in just a little bit. And the what we took off the inside is going to help this, see, because it was a little bit thick, especially on the where the reeded edge was. And we took some of that off with that grinder. So we're just going to try to bring this in just a little bit. What I like to have is a kind of an oval shape on my ring. Seems like a ring that's just flat across looks amateurish to me. That's getting pretty close right there. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but just a hair more. That's pretty good right there, I think. Pretty good. Now we're going to go back to our inside. We're going to put that carbide thing on it again. We've changed the inside dimensions a little bit. We're going to smooth that up. Then we're going to get some finer sandpaper on it. Now we got our carbide burr on here again. Alright, we're going to change to now some sandpaper. I've got some little homemade mandrels here that's made out of some round delrin. Wrap sandpaper around it. This 80 grit paper, it may hold up if you wet it, but it seems like it kind of wants to grit to come off of it. Some of this paper is made for wet sanding, and some of it's not. So, all right, now we're going to go to a little bit finer paper. We're going to go up to 400 grit, and it's definitely wet or dry paper, and that seems to that water seems to help. Now we're going to polish this with some of this white. They call it rouge if it's red, but I don't know. Alright. We've got the inside shined up on it. We got the outside edge shined where it's not sharp, won't cut your finger. If you notice, we hadn't touched the outside of this ring at all. We've not done anything to it. We've stayed away from it because we're trying to preserve the detail. Now I'm going to work on the outside edge of the top of it. I'm just concentrating on that beveled edge on the outside part of it. You can get carried away with this polishing and make your detail where you can't see it. This coin had a good detail on it to start out with, so it can stand just a little bit. Some of the coins I work with are scratched up to start out with. This coin's in pretty good shape. So we're just polishing a little bit. Now we're going to go to some of this Mother's. There's no shine like Mother's. And this is stuff I bought at the Walmart. And we're going to put the Mother's polish to it. Nice looking, isn't it? Alright, now I believe we're going to be able to salvage a ring out of this little piece of silver, 90% silver, 10% copper, and you can see how much work goes into this, and that's the reason I don't sell my rings for no $20. I give them away before I sell them that cheap. In God we trust, in 1964, and of course the Liberty is turned in the other direction. Hope you can see that.